We always hear that natural is better, right? But what if I told you that a completely natural food, something as simple as honey, could be a really serious, hidden danger for the littlest members of our family? Well, today, we're going to dig into exactly why this sweet treat is a huge no-no for infants.
I mean, that's a pretty shocking question, isn't it? But the thing is, for any baby under 1 year old, the answer is a scary yes. So let's break down the science behind this super important warning.
Okay, so the danger we're talking about here is a condition called infant botulism. It's a really serious infection, and what it does is it attacks the body by producing a toxin. And the main target of that toxin, well, it's the muscles, and that leads to this really frightening progressive weakness.
So how does this even happen? I mean, it sounds so strange, right? Well, the answer is hiding in the microscopic world of bacterial spores. And it's all about why a baby's brand new digestive system is just uniquely vulnerable.
All right, so the main culprit here is a bacteria called Clostridium botulinum. But here's the catch. It doesn't usually travel around as active bacteria. Nope, it travels as these things called spores. And you can just think of them like tiny armored seeds. They're totally dormant and super tough, just hanging out waiting for the perfect conditions to wake up and start growing.
And wouldn't you know it, an infant's gut is that perfect environment. It's like a 5-star hotel for these spores. So, when a baby swallows food with these spores in it, they travel down into the intestine. Now, in an adult's gut, we've got all this mature bacteria that would just wipe them out, no problem. But a baby's system, it's just not there yet. It's basically defenseless. And that's when the spores spring to life. They start multiplying, and this is the critical part. They release that dangerous botulinum toxin right into the baby's body.
So where are these spores even coming from? Well, they can be in soil, in dust, but honey is a really well-known carrier. Now here's the thing. If you or I ate that exact same spoonful of honey, our grown-up digestive systems would just deal with the spores. No big deal. But for a baby, it can kickstart that entire dangerous process we just walked through.
Okay, so understanding the science behind it is one thing. But if you're a parent or a caregiver, what really matters is knowing what to look for. What does this actually look like? Because recognizing the warning signs early on, well, that can make all the difference in the world.
And here it is, the very first absolutely crucial warning sign. And it's one that is so easy to just brush off. In most cases of infant botulism, the very first symptom is constipation. I know it's such a common baby issue, right? And that's exactly why it's so important to have this on your radar as a potential first red flag. Okay, so after that initial sign, the toxin's effect on the muscles really starts to kick in. You might notice the baby's cry sounds weak. That's because the muscles in their vocal cords are being affected. They might start drooling more because they can't swallow as well. Feeding becomes a real struggle, and then the weakness starts to become really visible. You might see drooping eyelids, a kind of blank look on their face, and then this loss of muscle tone that starts to spread through their arms and legs.
This whole devastating progression leads to a state that doctors literally call floppy baby syndrome. The baby's body becomes just unnervingly limp. This is a massive sign of severe muscle weakness, and you guys, it is a true medical emergency. Why? Because the very next muscles to be affected are the ones that they need to breathe.
Okay, I know these symptoms sound absolutely terrifying, but there is some good news here. Once doctors even suspect this is happening, the medical response is incredibly fast, and there's a very clear and effective path to recovery.
So for the doctors, it's kind of a two-part process. The diagnosis starts with just a suspicion. They look for that classic pattern of symptoms we just talked about. At the same time, they'll order a lab test on a stool sample to get the final definitive confirmation, to actually find the bacteria or the toxin itself.
But, and this is so important, they do not wait for those lab results to come back. That can take days. The second that infant botulism is strongly suspected, the baby is hospitalized and treatment starts immediately. In a situation like this, time is absolutely everything.
The go-to treatment, the main weapon they have against this, is something called Baby Big. You can think of it as an antitoxin, just packed with these powerful antibodies. When it's given to the baby, these antibodies basically go on a search and destroy mission. They hunt down the botulinum toxin that's floating around in the bloodstream, and they neutralize it right on the spot. This stops it from causing any more damage to the muscle. So, you might be thinking, hold on a second, if this is all caused by bacteria, why not just pump the baby full of antibiotics and kill them off? And that is a fantastic question with a really important answer.
Okay, here's the key thing to understand. By the time any symptoms show up, the bacteria have already done their job. They've produced and released the toxin. So at that point, the toxin is the real problem, not the bacteria that are still hanging out in the gut. Using antibiotics then would be like, I don't know, trying to shut down a factory after all its products have already been shipped across the country. It's too late. The priority has to be intercepting those products, the toxins, and that's what Baby Big does.
All right, all of this, it brings us to what is, without a doubt, the single most important part of this whole discussion, prevention. Because with just one simple piece of knowledge, you can make sure this is something your family never has to deal with.
And it all boils down to this one single number, 12. What does that mean? It means absolutely no honey of any kind. I'm talking raw, cooked, baked into something, doesn't matter. No honey before a child is 12 months old. That is the golden rule. After their first birthday, their little digestive system is developed enough to handle it. But before then, the risk is just way too high.
And really, that's the main takeaway here. This isn't about being scared of food, it's about the power of just knowing. Understanding this one simple rule is like having the ultimate shield. It protects your baby from a danger that is rare, yes, but also completely preventable. It's just a perfect example of how sometimes knowledge is the absolute best protection you can have.